Hey there, everyone. This is Ken, founder of MinnoTank, and this is episode 29 of MinnoTank featuring Parlay. Parlay is fundamentally changing the way digital product teams can engage their users in order to build better products. Stay tuned to the pitch to watch Keith Frankel pitch Parlay. Feel free to stay to the entire pitch, or if you'd like to watch the pitch individually, you can go to minnotank.com/parlay. And if you're interested in contact or investing into the startup, please go to minnotank.com/PARLAY to contact the founder. All right, everybody, enjoy the pitch.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Keith Frankel, and I am one of the co-founders of Parlay. Now, in a nutshell, Parlay is a customer collaboration platform, and it's designed to dramatically transform the way that digital product teams engage their users in order to build better products. Now, through Parlay, these digital product teams can preview all the new potential feature ideas they're considering building directly inside of their live products in the exact location where those features may one day exist. And they can do all of this without having to first write a single line of code. Now, Parlay then analyzes all of that user engagement, feedback, and sentiment around those features. And by doing so, can validate the impact of all those new feature ideas before the product team commits any time or money building them. Now, if a team will commit to using Parlay, we can unlock a ton of value for them. Not only can we dramatically de-risk their development efforts by helping them understand what they should build and how they should build it, but more importantly than any of that, Parlay can significantly boost the satisfaction of the customers using those products. And by doing so, ensure long-term customer retention, mainly because we help these product teams treat their users not just as a bunch of paying customers, but rather as an army of potential collaborators. That is the quick overview of Parlay. If you want to know more, please feel free to continue checking out our deck pitch, or feel free to contact me at any time. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Keith, for that awesome elevator pitch. Next up is the deck pitch, where we'll dig deeper into the investment opportunity of Parlay.
Hi there, my name is Keith Frankel. I'm one of the co-founders of Parlay. And before I jump in and really examine what Parlay is, I'd like to just quickly take a minute to introduce you to the team. So as I mentioned, my name is Keith Frankel, formerly the head of creative and design at HubSpot up until its IPO, after which I joined an early stage ed tech startup called Firecracker as chief product officer, which is where I met the rest of my founding team. Together, we helped bootstrap Firecracker to 20 full-time employees and an eventual acquisition at the beginning of this year. In addition to myself, I'm also joined by our CTO, Jason Zoff. Jason was originally an MD who realized he liked coding more than helping people. So he shifted careers and went down that path. He was the founding instructor at a renowned boot camp called Launch Academy, and then he was a senior software engineer at Firecracker for the last 3.5 or so years. In addition to Jason and I, our final co-founder is Jonah Stuart. He's our chief design officer. Jonah has worked at a bunch of either venture-backed or successfully exited startups in the Boston area. He was at Smarter through its Pluralsight acquisition. He was at Robin Powered through its Series A round of funding. And then, of course, he was at Firecracker through that acquisition as well. In addition to the three co-founders, we also have two amazing advisors. The first of which is Randy Parker. Randy was the founder of Constant Contact, which was acquired for just over $1 billion a few years ago. In addition to Randy, we also have Rich Thornett. Rich was the co-founder of Dribbble. If you're unfamiliar, Dribbble is considered the largest global online community of graphic artists and product designers. So really important for our target market and really helpful to have both of these guys in our corner. That's the team. So without further ado, let's jump in and talk about Parlay. So I'd like you to first just quickly think about all the different digital products you use every single day in your life, right? You probably have a bunch you use for your job, for your career, and you probably have even more that you use for your personal life. Well, if you're like most Americans, use about 9 different digital products every single day, or about 30 unique products every single month. Now that you have all those in mind, I want you to try and remember the last time that someone responsible for building and improving all those products got in touch with you and asked you for your feedback or your input on something they were considering building. And I'm not talking about a marketing or salesperson trying to get you to become a customer, or even a customer support person trying to get you to fill out a survey or rate their NPS score, right? I'm talking about someone from the product team who's actually capable and, more importantly, responsible for building the products you use every single day. Can you recall it happening even once in the last 6 months? Well, if the answer is no, then that obviously begs the question, how can a product team possibly know what it should be building for its customers if it's never actually talking to those customers? Well, today these teams are relying primarily on two sources of information. First, other teams at their company, either through the sales process or through inbound customer support tickets, or through passive observation using tools we call analytics tools. But let's imagine a totally different world, right? One in which rather than passively spying on you or getting secondhand indirect information about you, these product teams instead collaborated directly with you as the user on an ongoing, frequent, and consistent basis. And by doing so, gave you some sort of control in the future of all those products you spend all that time and money on. That is exactly the world Parlay is working toward. So, in a nutshell, Parlay is a customer collaboration platform designed to transform the way that these digital product teams engage users like you in order to build better, more useful, hopefully more enjoyable products, right? How does this work? Well, in a nutshell, Parlay allows these digital product teams to preview all the potential new feature ideas they're considering building inside of their live products and the exact location where those features may one day exist. And they can do all this without having to first write a single line of code. Users then can essentially toggle on a labs mode view of the products they use. And by doing so, review proposed features, provide feedback, or even propose features of their own using the same set of tools that we give to the product team. Parlay on the back end then analyzes all of this inbound user feedback and sentiment and provides a single next step to the product team for each of the new ideas they're considering, meaning which features should they build or which features should they kill and never work on again. Now, if a team will commit to Parlay, we can unlock a ton of value for them. Not only can we help them dramatically de-risk their development efforts by helping them determine what they should build, what they should not build, or even how they should build those features, but more importantly than any of that, Parlay can help them dramatically boost the satisfaction of their user population simply by giving them the tools they need to treat those users not just as a bunch of paying customers, but rather as an army of potential collaborators, right? So this is really important because software development is an expensive and ongoing cost for all of these software teams. These software companies are spending thousands of hours, millions of dollars every single month building and improving their products, right? In fact, when you look at the percentage of total budget spent on R&D efforts for the average publicly traded software company, it's about a quarter of their total budget. But as the company gets smaller, the companies on average spend much more on their product development efforts. In fact, the fastest growing software companies in the United States spend about 44% of their entire annual budget solely on product development. That is a significant expense to incur without knowing for sure what the impact of all these feature ideas are ultimately going to be. Parlay can solve that. But if you look at the market, you could quickly see how essentially any company doing business online is a potential Parlay customer down the road, right? Software revenues in 2017 were around $600 billion. They're expected to grow to over $1 trillion by 2029. But despite the fact that this market is substantial and the opportunity is increasingly large, we actually really want to focus on a few specific target markets. So let me quickly cover that. First, we really want to focus on the earliest stage startups, those companies with an MVP in market, primarily B2B SaaS companies, because they have the highest execution risk. They are moving the fastest. They will use anything they can get their hands on, right? and they already have a product in market, so they can get you inbound feedback. So you're talking about the 20,000 or so US B2B SaaS, software as a service startups. We think those are a great initial fit for Parlay because they can use us early and we can grow with them over time. However, we acknowledge that those teams don't have a ton of money to spend on external resources. So we also want to focus on the more than 100,000 small and medium-sized software businesses in the United States. By small and medium size, we mean less than 500 employees. In fact, 99% of all US software companies are considered SMB. Why do we want to focus on them? Well, they're in that scale up phase, so they still have a certain degree of execution risk. They're still spending a considerable amount of their budget on product development and R&D efforts. However, they have a product in market that's fairly mature. They have a lot, at least a large enough user population to provide a high degree of engagement. And so we think they are the perfect fit. They have money to spend. They still have major issues in terms of cost and risk. And we think we can help them solve all of those. The third group, and actually sort of unforeseen until recently, is actually software development agencies. These companies who are building products for clients of their own. A lot of times these companies, certainly they need to build a good product for their customers. However, they have trouble getting feedback from the end user population. For some reason or another, they're not allowed access to those. In addition to that, they have trouble finding recurring revenue. A lot of these software development shops work off project basis. They get a project, they build the product, and it's over. Essentially, what we want to do is provide these agencies with a way to become a Parlay partner reseller. By selling Parlay to their end clients, we will share in the monthly recurring revenue. That not only allows us to grow exponentially faster, but it also gives these agencies an incentive because they're getting a piece of that monthly recurring revenue cost. This is straight out of the HubSpot playbook. It's exactly what we did over the last few years when I worked there, and I think it'll work really well here at Parlay. Now, while we believe that Parlay is incredibly valued to product teams today, namely because it can solve so many of these very real present problems that they have in these really novel ways by engaging users deeply, frequently, and more often. We actually believe that the value of Parlay is only going to increase exponentially over the next few years. You see, we still live in this world in which digital product teams can rely almost primarily on their products as their main form of competitive advantage, meaning they can be competitive in the market with their peers through some sort of feature differentiation. But it is quickly becoming the case in which competitive advantage through feature differentiation is going to be a thing of the past. You see, the tools we use to build software today are already so powerful that we can quickly copy and launch derivative versions of our competitors' features to our own customer bases and then market them as unique or even better. And this is an omnipresent problem within the industry. But this is only going to be compounded over the next few years as things like AI and automation continue to creep into the realm of software development. You see, today, there are already teams building machine learning systems hooked up to cameras, which can nearly instantaneously design and code product experiences based only on a sketch on a piece of paper. And that is today. Imagine where we're going to be in 10 years with that much additional technological advantage and full companies focused on this. Well, we're going to be at a point in which this idea of competitive advantage through feature differentiation no longer exists. It simply can't exist because any short-term feature benefit that one company has over another will be almost instantly copied and launched by that competitor. And at that point in which product teams can no longer rely on their products as their main form of competitive advantage, what else will they have to rely on if not their customer loyalty? And that's exactly what Parlay can do. Not only can we help these teams build better products faster today and solve very real pain points today, but by getting into these product teams and educating them that there is a significantly better way that they should be approaching product development as a whole endeavor, as an entire discipline, we can essentially train these teams over time to start to view their value not as feature builders, but rather as customer collaborators. And it will be at that point in which these companies are able to rely on the relationship they've built with their users over time to ensure that they're not disrupted. And unfortunately, the vast majority of product teams are just not prepared for this eventuality today, and Parlay can solve that. That's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please let us know. We would love to talk to you. Shoot me an email at any point. If you're a non-accredited investor and you'd like to participate in Parlay, we have a link to an equity crowdfunding campaign through a platform called Republic, which you can invest in for as little as $100. However, if you're an angel investor, an accredited investor, and you'd like to have an ongoing conversation and partner in a larger way, we would love to talk to you. Please feel free to reach out to us. You can email me at any time. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Talk to you all soon.
Awesome pitch, Keith. Thank you for participating in MinnoTank. Feel free to go to MinnoTank.com/parlay if you'd like to contact the startup about investment, or if you'd like to pitch your startup on the MinnoTank network to hundreds of investors all over the USA, please go to MinnoTank.com/pitch and join our waitlist. All right, we'll see you next week with episode number 30. Thanks.